I'm not much of a drinker, but I love me a good cocktail. There's something about the complexity of them, almost like a recipe or a science project. But I also want to keep my wits about me when I drink, and the best way to do that is with a non-alcoholic but still fun and tasty drink. Lucky for people like me, there are so many great options for having a non-alcoholic drink that feels special like an alcoholic one does. So when I heard the name Madame Mocktail, I had to learn more. What I found out about the people behind it, a husband and wife team, and got to taste the drinks made me want to introduce them to our Real Food Traveler podcast listeners. I'm Courtney Drake McDonough, the host of this podcast and publisher of the realfoodtraveler.com culinary travel website. I'd like you to meet my guests, who are the sponsors of this episode, Alena, Brook, Mahoney, and James Mahoney, co-owners of Madame Mocktail. Welcome to the podcast, Alena and James.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, glad to be here. Thank you. Hello.
So tell us what Madame Mocktail is.
So it's a non-alcoholic mocktail. Or cocktail, 0 proof, and I created it from an Instagram account that I had that was named Madame Mocktail in 2021. And I was a madam that would go to restaurants and rate mocktails at different restaurants. And from there, I met James. We got married. He got sober. I told him about the account, and he was like, whoa, I love that name. There weren't very many good options out there of mocktails. And he said, why don't we make our own drink, Madame Mocktail?
Yeah, I was really drawn to the name. It was really catchy. And, being an entrepreneur, I wanted to sort of do something with my wife that we felt, aligned with our personal lives. And we knew what the alternatives out there were in terms of non-alcoholic drinks, and what we found was the options for us, the flavors weren't too great. Seems like a lot of sparkling waters with the added juice, and we really wanted to take it to another level. We brought in glass bottles. We went through the whole manufacturing process. We really got our PhD in beverage over a year's time frame, and consulted with a few key companies that were able to get us to market rather quickly. And we're in a whole bunch of retail facilities and direct to consumer online. So we've learned a lot about the beverage industry, but we're pretty proud of what we came to market with. So
if other products that you were experiencing in the marketplace were, like you said, more club soda and juice kind of thing, how are yours different?
Yeah, we wanted to concentrate primarily on the bold flavoring. That was, Alena and I had spoken in depth about this, and we consulted with a company called BevSource. Alena did a whole bunch of due diligence on getting into this market, who to utilize, what past companies they've worked with before, and we really wanted to tailor our flavors to the masses. And doing so, we had 4 rounds of taste testing.
Yes.
To where, they'd send us samples, would say yay or nay. Alena really had an idea of what she wanted to do in terms of the flavors that we, have presented with the lemon drop martini, the passion fruit mojito, the Cosmo Knot, and the black cherry Moscow Mule, which we think are 4 distinct flavors that sets us apart from other, retailers and beverage makers out there. So, I would go out and I would drink a cherry Coke or a glass of water, and we're in a lot of social settings. We go out to eat quite a bit. And for us, this whole sober curious movement, me being completely sober, I wanted something that tasted good. But we also, while doing this, found that these make great mixers too for people or restaurants or other retailers that they want to buy as a mixer. But it's a ready to drink mocktail that has a bold flavor that can also be substituted as a mixer. And that wasn't initially what we set out to do, but restaurants came calling to us when they, heard about us, they tasted our flavors and felt that this could be used as a 2-pronged approach as opposed to just a mocktail in itself.
Mm-hmm. I have to tell you, last night I was invited over to somebody's house for dinner, and everybody else was drinking alcohol, and it was a BYOB thing. And I thought, well, I don't want to drink there. I don't
Right.
have anything to take over there. And then I remembered I still had one of your cocktails your mocktails that you sent me, one of
Sure.
the mojito, in my refrigerator. And I took that, and it was so great because I
Yeah.
felt like, I had
You
something
feel
in
like
my
you're
hand.
in. It's a placebo effect too. When
Yeah,
you look at our bottles, and you've obviously had the chance to try and look at them online, it feels like you're part of the crowd, and
Yeah,
and
you
that's
feel
really what.
included.
Yeah, we
That's what
wanted
you
to have
want.
that inclusivity, especially where you're unfortunately in society, you almost feel ashamed, which you shouldn't. I mean, you're making a personal choice to not drink, at least in the crowds that I'm around. If I was to ever drink a water or like a Coke, people would ask me the question, why aren't you drinking? Why aren't you drinking? At least with this, you get that placebo effect, and it
right.
allows you to feel in a social environment. It's really kind of interesting in today's society that that's kind of the way it is, but we want to make it more inclusive all
We're
around.
trying to change it. The trends are changing and bartenders are coming around. Before when you would sit at the bar and order a club soda or a Coke, they would kind of be like, oh, you're taking up one of my seats, you're not ordering alcohol. But now it's coming around and bartenders are crafting mocktails, getting into it, the fun of making them, the idea of them. They're on a lot of restaurant menus now, and that's the other thing is, as James said about the restaurants bringing us in, we can be a mocktail on the menu and we can be a cocktail on the menu. And he can be drinking one without alcohol, and someone else could be drinking it with alcohol, and they both look the same. So you feel included.
Right, right. Yeah, definitely. So tell us what you were both doing professionally before you launched Madame Mocktail.
I'll let you go first.
So I was an international model for 15 years, signed with Ford, top agency, and I traveled all over the world, graced a lot of magazines, commercials, and I'm originally from Pittsburgh, but decided to travel the world and take my career. That was my dream career. And then I came back just to be with family, and ended up meeting James and getting married 3 months later. So it's a
Who would have
short
thought?
love story.
And I've been an entrepreneur the last 15 years. I had various roles, well, owners in different industries, primarily in the medical industry. I spent 10 years in the lighting industry as a CEO where, we had up to 40 1099 employees. I took basically nothing into a $30 million company and exited out of that. I own billboard signs. Alena and I currently own a dog grooming business as well, and now our other business, which is Madame Mocktail, where Alena, with her creativity and passion for design and everything, she's the actual logo on our brand. So if you check out our website or even look at the logos on the bottles, that's actually Alena's face. So we felt like that was a good business decision as opposed to putting my face on anything.
Well, yeah, and there's
Starting our brand, so
there's a lot of all the other mocktails out there don't have really a face or a logo that is a face, and I just felt people can connect with her.
Mhm.
She's very vibrant, sexy, fun, and
she's the madam.
yeah, she's
Yeah.
the madam.
Yeah.
She's a cartoon character, but she has my beauty mark.
Yeah, and it shows really well in retail space. I mean, if you look at other non-alcohol drinks, and this is why we chose what we did with the glass bottle to start. We are thinking of venturing into the cans because stadiums, arenas, things of that have, really put big interest into wanting us, and obviously that would require doing can runs. But having this type of bottle and having the creativity and the design, if you showcase this in retail, it really sets itself apart. And like Alena said, it's very inviting, sort of that logo that we chose, and I mean, we've been complimented by everyone.
It was a quick decision
Yeah.
because we had to get this to market in November, and we were shooting for January, so it was 2 months before, and we were torn between two logos, and we're just like, let's go.
That's the one.
And now I'm just like,
So thankful we did.
yeah, I couldn't even imagine the other logo. So
Yeah, last night when I was at that dinner, people were asking me about it. They thought the label was so cute. So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
good
it's like this
decision.
1950s pinup version. You know, we feel like it's, you know, even though it's called Madame Mocktail, I think men are drawn to it as well. It's not off-putting. Alena was talking about our first label. It was very artistic,
Abstract.
but abstract and almost too elegant. And that was the route we were trying to go. But we felt, you know, we came from nothing, so we really wanted to appeal to the masses, and that's why we're in a lot of gas stations, you know, to country clubs, to private clubs. So our goal now is to make it more available and readily available for people that either don't drink or just want to hop on that sober curious train.
Everyone should have a taste of the good life.
Right, definitely. So you both came to this business with no real practical experience for what was required, and you talked about all the, I mean, you listed things I'd never even thought of when you know, were having to put all this together. How did you have the guts to take it on anyway?
We ask ourselves that question all the time. I think it's, I mean, for me, and I'll let Alena answer after I'm done, it was more of a personal journey for me. And, you know, being husband and wife and being in business together, I think was probably the biggest driver for me. We didn't want to do it, you know, sort of, excuse my French, half-assed. We wanted to go full in and consult with a company called BevSource. And I really, you know, I give them a lot of credit from taking us from A to Z, from, you know, just idea, you know, concept to, you know, being into the market. And without them, I feel like it would probably be at least a 2 to 3 year journey, you know, with everything that they've done, from sourcing ingredients to finding co-packers to help manufacture this product to finding the correct bottle that we wanted. I mean,
yeah, I knew I wanted this bottle from day one.
Yeah.
Because it was from a cider that I liked previously. And yeah, I mean, they worked alongside us with the flavors. Like he said, the 4 rounds of tasting, and I would send them in things that I wanted, like the lemon drop martini. I sent them in like a limoncello flavor. Like we really worked alongside for each one of these flavors. The passion fruit, like I really wanted a lot of passion flavor and a real mint flavor. So each one I could tell you, even the Cosmo, the texture of it is like you feel the cloudiness, like the powderiness on texture on your tongue. Whereas other mocktails out there are like a seltzer with just a splash of cranberry juice. That's not, doesn't seem like a Cosmo to me, and it doesn't feel like one or sit like one in a glass would. And the
yeah, because if you were to put these in glassware, they actually look like it's a crafted mocktail.
Yeah, they're not over carbonated. The lemon drop sits like a lemon drop would. Even if you were to add the vodka, it would look and taste just like a lemon drop martini.
Wow, that's so interesting. In what ways do you feel like your backgrounds, different as they are from, you know, what you're doing now, lent themselves to what you're doing now? What did they bring to this whole process?
Yeah, I mean, Alena's creativity and her passion for design and just having that background. I mean, you know, even her just running our social media, there's nothing that I could have done to be in position to where we're at. I think me maybe having the acumen that I've acquired over the years and just that entrepreneurial spirit sort of led to us, you know, wanting and willing to take that step. But I think we really, our cohesiveness it really shows with this product, and it's totally embodies what we're about, you know, personally, professionally. And I think it's the perfect mix of, you know, like an entrepreneurial journey that we've gone on together.
And not to cut you off, but just also from me traveling all over the world, my palate is amazing with flavors, and I knew I wanted those 4 flavors, and in my head I knew exactly what I wanted them to taste like. So working alongside the scientists to come up with these creations, these are exactly what I envisioned, flavor wise, texture wise, everything. So yeah, they're bold flavors and they taste really good. I feel like all 4 flavors are amazing. It's just a matter of which one you like more, but they all taste good.
I completely just lost my train of thought.
Okay.
I will come back. It'll come back to me. So, but I'll ask you this next question. And we talked about this a little bit in the beginning about how there was a time, and not even that long ago, even last year, I remember going to a very popular restaurant and saying, "Do you have any mocktails?" And the bartender looked at me like I was asking him something absolutely insane, which blew me away that in this day and age, he not only didn't have a menu but didn't have any ID, anything to offer me, and thought it was weird. Um, but let's talk a little bit about the non-alcoholic drink movement. It is huge right now, like you said. And why? What do you think is going on that's making people turn away from alcoholic drinks as much and turn towards non-alcoholic ones now?
Yeah, I'm pretty well read on this subject matter. The Gen Z population for sure has decided that, alcohol isn't like a pertinent part of their lifestyle. I grew up and then I'm 46. So, when even in high school, I had a fake ID, and, college I went to, I was in a fraternity. It was almost demanded to drink. It was just part of a society, not anything I'm proud of, but it was just, kind of mixing in with peers. And I don't think that mentality. I think there's a lot of social influencers now that are, promoting this lifestyle of being sober, if not completely sober curious. For instance, my 13-year-old son, he's all about sobriety. And it was interesting when we were, kind of making this drink, it kind of getting a little choked up, but sorry. But for me to kind of witness that with my son, and him not even knowing what dad was doing at the time, it just made me feel like I'm doing the right thing for society. So,
Mhm.
and I had a personal journey with sobriety, and all the mistakes I've ever made have come from, alcohol or alcoholism. I've had a long history in my family, so I feel like we're doing something better for society. And
Yeah.
I didn't know how to get emotional. I'll let Lena
I
do
think
it.
the younger generation, they're noticing,
Yeah.
and where our generation, it was kind of celebrated, or and now they're noticing mental health even too is a big thing. Therapy, meditation, all it all comes together, and it's just being welcomed with open arms in a
Mhm.
healthy way now. And sobriety, sober curiosity, mindful drinking is what it's all about and what it's going
Right.
to. And I mean, and then the numbers are proving it. I mean, we go into we sell this into restaurants, and some restaurants, they're still stuck in their ways, like, oh no, we're selling our Coors Light, blah, 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 like we don't need a mocktail, they don't get it. Then we walk into other restaurants and they're like, oh my gosh, my sales are like completely down, I can't hire a band. Yes, we'd love to have your mocktails. So
Interesting.
yes, yeah, it's whether people are open to it or seeing the numbers or and understanding it, but you know, there are still some people that just don't get it yet. But
Hmm.
I think maybe next year or the year after, but every year it gets to be more and more and more
Yeah.
understood.
And we take the approach where we're not like pushing it down people's throats. There's a lot of programs out there, and God bless them, they do wonders for people, like AA and different organizations. But we kind of have chosen the path to just make it available. Like our drinks are great by themselves, and if you choose to add alcohol, just do it in a responsible manner. And I think people sort of hear that and are open to that, as opposed to it being more preached too.
And
Yeah.
we're one of the first mocktails to be in gas stations. Initially, like we said, we wanted to be this elevated beverage, and we are. But why not have it readily available and accessible to everyone? We got an email last week from someone in Orange County that ordered our product, and she said if she didn't have it that night, it saved her life. That she had it, that our Madame Mocktail that night, and that she didn't drink. So I mean, we get emails every day, and that's what keeps us going.
I've talked to breweries and wineries that have said this non-alcoholic movement is going to ruin us. And then but I've also talked to a lot of wineries and breweries who said, it's here. We were always going to have our alcohol drinkers. So we've tried to figure out how we can make our wines, our ciders, our beers non-alcoholic too, or alcohol free. So, some of those are
Mhm.
just embracing it and saying, well, it's here, let's deal with this. But I was really kind of shocked to have people tell me this is ruining, we're gonna go out of business. And so it is
Yeah.
interesting the different philosophies that these manufacturers are coming at.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're feeling a lot of people are
Yeah.
adapting, and
Yeah.
the restaurants that I mean, we've seen it all, but the ones that have adapted positively to this change, I think, are prospering because they take that dual approach, and it's not like they're so hard headed to where they don't want to bring it in. You talk
Yeah.
about a lot of breweries.
That's
We're in
what
a
I
ton
was
of
just
them.
gonna say. It's interesting you say breweries because a lot of them around here are starting an NA beer and bringing us in as mocktails too, and outside of their brewery. So yeah, I think
Yeah, it could be a whole new
yeah,
business,
I
revenue
think everyone
stream.
should look at it from a different approach.
Yeah.
Like
So, like I was just saying about that some people have
there's-
just removed the alcohol and others create it where it never had any alcohol. What is the situation with your products?
So we are 0.0. We're no alcohol. We wanted our kids to even be able to drink them. And also, if people that are in AA or sobriety, that some people don't even want to drink the point 0.5 or that have like a little bit in it, you can't get drunk off of it, but it could curve their cravings or whatever. And yeah, ours are 0.
Right. We had that option, from that third party
Mhm.
consultant group. They asked us, I think, in fact, it was probably a little less expensive to have that point oh 0.05 in it, but we chose to go 0.0 because I think there's a lot more co-packers that are more adaptive, or the ingredients, I guess, allow for it. So we chose the path to go 0.0, and yeah, we're proud that we did it.
So with that, if somebody's when someone's purchasing your products in a store, do they have to show ID?
State driven.
Okay.
So for Pennsylvania, depending on where it's placed, and this is where it gets a little convoluted, we can be placed by alcohol, which we chose to do in a lot of convenience stores because it just shows better and it's an alternative, or we can be placed in the mixers in a supermarket aisle. So it just depends on where it's placed at any given store. PA is a little bit of a different state.
Yeah.
It's very state to state. Typically, no, you don't have to show ID, but for the Pennsylvania retail stores, you don't. We just got a whole bunch of 7-Elevens in West Virginia, and they don't have to show ID in that particular state. So it varies by state. As you know, PA is a Commonwealth state, so it's just a little different and weird how.
I also think they're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've gone into a lot of the retail locations. Alena said we're in a lot of gas stations, which we are. And there's a particular company here where they had us placed right in the aisle, and no one checked their ID. Where we were placed by alcohol, same company, they checked our ID because we were placed by alcohol. So I think it's just a kind of convoluted space, you know what I mean? And it just really depends on the state that is carrying
Okay,
us.
so be prepared to show your ID and don't send your teenager in.
In Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
in other states, yes, it won't be an issue.
Yeah, yeah. I live in Colorado and I tried to buy some ciders that I knew were from having met them and done a podcast with them that they were 0.0 and I still had to show my ID.
Still have the show. I'd be
Yeah.
okay. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you can absolutely give them to your children if it's 0.0. Our kids love them.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We talked a little bit about the name Madame Mocktail before, but and that is what initially drew me to want to talk to you. I
Yeah.
have to admit. Again, you said it's James. You don't feel that it puts off men at all to see Madame.
I really don't. I mean, I know that was our biggest concern when we first came to market. Is this too focused on women? And I feel like just given the logo and everything, it just clicks. And I haven't seen personally men kind of shy away from that. I mean, they love our flavors. A lot of men choose the black cherry Moscow Mule, the passion fruit mojito. And I think we just met with a retailer yesterday, and they kept track of men versus women, and it was almost like a 50-50 split. I mean, like 48, 52. It was, and I was, I don't want to say shocked to hear that, just because personally I felt like it didn't drive men away, but I don't think there's anything else out there like that, and that's why we brought the company the way it did. And I think the name just clicks, Madame Mocktail, and people are drawn to it from that, and that's all Alena's doing.
Mm-hmm.
I think men like they love fruity drinks too, and they're not afraid to order them, even if it has alcohol or not. I think that's just over with.
Yeah.
They want something to taste good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alena, you mentioned this before, that you knew exactly which four which four flavors you wanted. Can you talk about that a little bit more? I mean, how did you know those four had to be it?
Well, the lemon drop martini is my go-to drink whenever I did drink. So I knew that for sure. That was the first one. I knew I wanted a mojito because I love mojitos, but I just wasn't sure what flavor I wanted with that. And I looked at a lot of other mocktails out there and I didn't see passion fruit. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like an exotic flavor. And I think it would go really well in the mojito with the mint. And then the Cosmo, and it's a go-to drink for a lot of people. And like I said, the seltzer with the splash of juice, or it just like sitting like a red, just cranberry juice with sparkling water. I was like, no, that's not a Cosmo to me. A Cosmo looks like cloudy and pink in color, and I wanted to make sure that we got it to look that way and taste that way. And for the Moscow Mule, I knew I wanted a Moscow Mule. I guess they're like, I feel like the top four like main drinks that are ordered. Um, and for the Moscow Mule, we really worked hard on the ginger beer flavor. There's fresh ginger sediment in um, our mocktail, and that like there's a lot of weird ginger beers out there that's like hit or miss for me personally, and so I really worked hard on that flavor. And then the black cherry, I feel like is always a go-to for people whenever they're drinking anything. That everyone goes for black cherry, and I knew it was going to be a little bit difficult. I had never had a Moscow Mule with black cherry before. A lot of people, when they see it, they're like, "Oh my gosh, I've never even heard of that. Never had that," and are excited to try it. But the black cherry for me, I didn't want it to taste like a syrup or like a medicine or like a fake cherry. So we really worked on that deep black cherry, like natural flavor, and here we are with that's our boldest flavor out of all 4. And yeah, that's how I got to the 4 flavors. Do I have other flavors in mind? Yes. Do I have maybe a men's line in that, and as an idea? Yes. There's a lot of things in the works still.
Okay.
Limited edition flavors, yes, but these were my main 4.
And I'm so fascinated by the fact that you put so much thought into the feel of them and how they sit in the glass. I
Yeah.
did not even pay attention to that, and now I need to try them all again and pay attention to that. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
if you look, and I don't want to ever talk bad about our competition, but I feel like people just put stuff out there because of the trend. We actually didn't even feel that this was like an ongoing trend until we were in the market. This was more of a personal journey for us and more of a business that we wanted to have a niche in. And we found out I don't want to say by luck, because we knew that this was a growing market, but that wasn't our main driver. Our main driver was to have something that tasted good, had bold flavors, and there was an alternative as to the seltzer or whatever, water, sparkling water with a splash of juice. It just didn't taste, in our preference, good enough for us to go out and order it and put it in a glass.
And this goes back to, because I don't think I really got to answer that question, what gave me the guts to start this company. It was James obviously getting sober, and there not being great options out there. He would order a cherry Coke with grenadine. If he didn't like the mocktail, he would send it back and just be like, I want a cherry Coke. So I was like, we need to make something that tastes just as good as a cherry Coke. And it needs to be bold flavor. It needs to sit like a cocktail, taste like a cocktail, but it's a mocktail. And also starting the company, I mean, you obviously wanted to build a legacy. That was a big thing too. And being sober, I felt like this will help his sobriety. Have like this Madame Mocktail was our company. We're constantly going to be working at it. He has the options to drink great mocktails throughout his sobriety. I just think it's a win-win all around.
And I remembered the question I wanted to ask you. You talked about how partnering with that company, and I'm sorry I forgot their name, enabled you to.
Beverage.
Okay, thank you. Enabled you to get the product to market much sooner. So how long did it take from the time you decided we're going to do this to the time it was out there?
Yeah, so this first came. Well, this was obviously something Alena did on her own,
The
kind of
name
like
and the Instagram.
the name and Instagram
Yes.
and writing about it. But it first hit us, like when we first seriously started talking about it, it was early February of 2025. We went from idea to being in business the end of October of 2025. So we expedited it rather quickly. BevSource, it said that we haven't really seen anyone do this, and they've worked with companies like Celsius, Red Bull. I mean, they've worked with some big brands. So just I think our sheer grit and determination. Ironically enough, the dog grooming business that we purchased, the gentleman works in the candy industry, and that's how we really aligned with him to get into a lot of these retailers and kind of piggyback off of that. And they were demanding us to come to market. They love the idea, they love the concept, they love the name. It was
They wanted it for the holidays.
They wanted it for the holidays. So
January.
yeah, we pushed the limits on that, and we were able to do it. We were able to find a wholesaler to carry the product. I mean, knock on wood, I don't know how like anyone could have done this without a little bit of luck and just determination. I think.
And I think everyone, whenever they meet us, they're just like, oh my gosh, just captivated by how excited we are about this company. And I think a lot of people just said like they just love our charisma and how excited we are, and it tastes good and it looks good. This company, like the branding already looks like it's been a company for years. So
yeah, I think we complement each other well. I mean, that was the one thing if there was any trepidation whatsoever, it's kind of working side by side with your partner. And I think Alena and I, we do it in a way that I think most don't, that are husband and wife, and we've figured it out. And I think that is a story in itself. And we've been documenting a lot of this from start to finish, because it really truly is a story. I think Home Shopping Network, when they talked with us, QVC, they wanted kind of the background and everything. And they were just enamored by, wow, this is a husband and wife team, and just the pure passion and determination to choose our lifestyle and make it into the market that is so hard to get into. They were just like, well, I can't believe you've done this. And I mean, we've only been in the market, 3.5 months, 4 months, and we have, close to 200 placements, and, in a retail setting, people are ordering online. So we're getting noticed by a lot of larger companies, which is great and all, but I think for us to have zero knowledge in the beverage industry and to be where we're at right now just shows what we're capable of as a husband and wife. So it goes far beyond being in business together. I think it brings us closer too.
I know there are a lot of couples out there who have talked about going into business together. Can you give me one tip that you found that makes it easier and workable to work together?
I think acknowledging what what I'm good at and acknowledging what he's good at, and understanding that like it's not a competition, or not to butt heads or be stubborn. Like I know what he can do and he knows what I can do, and then we just
stay in our
lanes and support each other.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we've had conversations that tend to get a little heated, but then we realize that I can't do what she does on the whole creative side of things. That's not where I play well in business. Mine is more about operations and sales, and hers is creative and understanding how to get this to market in a manner that I have no clue to do. So I appreciate what she brings, and I think our values both complement each other, and she said it perfectly. Just kind of stay in lane.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I pick up on it with you guys. Just like watching you and hearing you, I pick up on the fact that you figured out how to make this work well. You have a very nice back and forth, and not a merging over each other and talking over each other, and that kind of thing. I can see the good working relationship between you, so it's good.
Thank you.
So when someone
Yeah.
drinks a Madame Mocktail, should they expect it to taste like the alcoholic version of this drink that they're familiar with?
To some degree, yeah. I the feedback I got when people do add alcohol to it, they can't taste the alcohol. So it tastes very similar to either with or without. We wanted that too. We didn't want that sort of over carbonated sort of feel. So we do have a little bit of carbonation, but it does feel like you're drinking a cocktail. And absolutely, I mean, I would say for every line that we have, there is that feel of drinking an actual cocktail,
Yeah.
but not to the point where it's a very easy, soothing type of feel. And you've had them, right? You drank the passion fruit. That's actually my personal favorite. I could sit and drink that.
It tastes like a cocktail, but alcohol removed. And there are like faux like liquors out there, like fake gins, fake bourbons, fake tequilas that we've been actually messing around with and putting in our mocktails that you can do if you want to taste that like alcohol flavor, but
Yeah.
ours don't have that alcohol flavor, and that's another good thing for people that are completely sober, because like I said, that maybe that taste of alcohol could give them a craving or and that's the other reason why we wanted to be a ready to drink mocktail.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. I wondered about that too. Like, James, like, drinking that, it looks and feels and has the mouth feel and of an alcoholic drink, but it doesn't make you want
It
to
has the
drink.
juice. Yeah, it's
It
more
has
like a
the
juice,
yeah.
and it.
Like it tastes like that's how the only way I can explain it is that it has all the flavor of a cocktail without like
The alcohol.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so
And I don't think that there was really anything out there like that. Like I said, like anything can be considered a mocktail. Even a Sprite can be considered a mocktail. Like anything that's non-alcoholic, and I feel like that should be changed. I feel like it should be like a cocktail, but a mocktail, like a mocktail that tastes just like a cocktail.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, so that's interesting to me too.
Yeah.
Because like the seltzers should be called seltzers.
Right.
But
So the drinks come in 4 packs, but also I see on the table big bottles too. What are the various sizes that it comes in and forms?
Yeah, so right now we have a 12-ounce bottle. And like we alluded to before, we're going to do an 8.4-ounce can run in the near future. The reason we chose the bottle, quite honestly, is because we wanted that upgraded look. We do realize, from an economic standpoint, when we ship to customers, it would be a lot less to be in a smaller can. And the weight,
Yeah.
when we go on to like the HSN and QVC, we're doing it specifically for that, and the arenas and stadiums that have put in initial POs. We're going to have that hopefully by summer. But we're going to maintain the bottles, almost like a Coca-Cola, it tastes better from the bottle. We definitely want to have that feel. But we understand from an economic standpoint, if we're shipping all across America and all 50 states, they might want to, go with a can. You could still buy the bottle, but,
Right.
with a can, it would be a lot less expensive to ship.
And I think the bottle just really got us attention, and from standing out and being different. And then people will be open to having the cans as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we'll do the same round that we did with Bevsos again. We'll acquire them, and we'll make sure that, it tastes exactly the same as it does from there's just something about drinking from a bottle or pouring it from a bottle that just tastes different. So we're not going away from that by any means, but we'll have both options in the near future.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, 4-pack is what they're sold in. You can buy them by the case online. They're $14.99 a 4-pack for each flavor.
And how many servings are supposed to be from one bottle of the 4-pack?
So different restaurants tell us different things. If you're mixing it, you can get 3 to 4 drinks, as a mixer.
Yeah.
But as a single serving, 1 or 2, per person bottles.
And that's why we did the bottle with the twist off lid and not serrated, because you can pour one drink, close it. It has a shelf life of 7 days after opening in the refrigerator. So,
Okay.
Yeah, that was a big thing for us with hospitality. We didn't want the serrated edge, you do with a bottle opener, and then it has to be drank that day. Restaurants and hotels really like it because they can banquet centers, because they can pour and then close it and then have it as the next day or up to 7 days after that as well.
Right, because none of them have any carbonation that's going to go flat, right? It just stays fresh.
Very small carbonation, but a very little amount comparative to what's out there with the
yeah. So we don't recommend shake it, but yes, right. There's a little bit of carbonation.
Okay. And so if you went to a restaurant and got it on its own, not as part of a mixed drink, do people generally give you the smaller 4-pack size, or do they just pour it in a glass?
So we're in a multitude of different restaurants. So for the high level restaurants, they've actually come to the table and poured it into a fine glass.
And left the bottle.
Yeah. Other family restaurants have mixed it with either a third of that mixed in with alcohol, or if they want to drink it as a mocktail, they'll probably use the whole bottle for one drink over ice.
Yeah, and then other speakeasies and things are using ours as bases for mocktails, and maybe adding other things to them, garnishes, or tweaking it different ways of how they would like to present it.
Okay. All right. Do you think they're better over ice, or just out of the fridge, or room temperature?
It depends which one. So the lemon drop martini and the Cosmo chilled and presented in a martini glass, so there wouldn't be any ice, but definitely chilled, all of them chilled. And then the mojito could be over ice with muddled mint. You can even add passion fruit. And then the Moscow Mule in the copper mug for sure. It just tastes.
For some reason, the copper mug, it's just like I don't know what it is, but yeah, I mean, I've drank all of them straight from the bottle, and I feel like they taste, it just really is personal preference. But like Alena said, they present very nicely the way that they're supposed to be presented as an alcohol drink, but as a non-alcohol drink for us. So we still like to keep that sort of image, if you will, kind of keep it in the the proper glass form. But yeah, I drink them straight from the bottle though, so it really just depends. Yeah.
You've talked about the cans a little bit, having those maybe by summer, and this we're talking at early 2026. What are some of your other plans and hopes for the future?
I mean, definitely just more flavors, limited edition, holiday flavors. I mean, the can's a big thing, and maybe a men's line. There's just a lot of things in the works, but really I just want to push the 4 flavors now and get that can run next.
Yeah, we're getting a lot of opportunities at national retailers. I mentioned one earlier. We have some talks with some companies that are in all 50 states. So establishing distribution points. We're now in 3 states. That was something that we weren't familiar with also, getting a distributor that can go to each individual location. It wasn't the easiest of tasks, but I think, given the uniqueness of our brand and image, they were more inclined, like they were reaching out to us. A lot of people told us it's going to take years to get into, the good graces of some distributors, but we've been getting calls left and right from, distributors, some national, and we're hopeful to be in a lot more states, rather than just ordering online relatively soon.
Yeah, I've heard from other people that it is, and this surprised me, that you really have to go literally to each individual liquor store and kind of do your song and dance to convince somebody to carry it.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
And we're only the 2 of us, so it's.
Yeah.
but we're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's not just like sending out a mass email and taking orders.
No, no, and it's even now going in. We didn't know that we were going to be welcomed into restaurants, and I then went into one of the restaurants one day and saw that the lemon drop martini was served in a glass with ice, almost like a Mai Tai glass, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is not right, and then I realized I have to go in and I need to train people of how to serve it.
Yeah.
So I'm doing that too. There's a lot of learning. There's been a lot of It's a learning process here.
Yeah, we want to get to a point, to where we'll have a sales force, we'll have dedicated staff to kind of assist with this, but right now it's
I
just
think it's good though,
grassroots.
because
Yeah.
they like seeing us, and they like seeing the owners and seeing us grow, and I think they're excited.
We're completely invested in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like we just started a company just to start a company and have a name. This is
Mhm.
something that we're doing day in and day out. And I feel like retailers, restaurants, distributors, they appreciate that. So
Mhm.
it's
And the social media, and
absolutely.
I'll show up dressed up like the madam, like the logo, going into all the local companies and shooting videos, and yeah, I think the supporting local has helped a lot. That's been one of the biggest things for us.
And the whole time we're talking, I keep having in my mind that you also have a dog grooming business. I mean, could they be more separate, more unrelated, or are they related
Right.
somehow?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure a way to correlate the two, but I don't know. I haven't found a way yet. Maybe with our mobile van, we can go and like pass out or do like a taste test or something. I don't know yet, but if I come up with that business idea, maybe we'll
Yeah.
put it out there. But no, they're completely separate.
Yeah,
Mhm.
very, very interesting. So where can people purchase Madame Mocktails?
Yep, straight from our website, madamemocktail.com. We are starting to put what locations we're available at. One of the national chains we're in, and they're just specific locations, is 7-Eleven. I don't want to name some of the others that have shown interest, but right now, just our website would probably be the best site, out of state from Pennsylvania, to order them and get them sent directly to your door.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, great. And what about on social media? Not only what platforms are you on, but what handles should they look for?
It's Madame Mocktail on everything: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook.
Okay. All right. So those three are
Yeah.
where you at? You're at TikTok. You're on
Yes.
Facebook. Okay, great. All right.
LinkedIn, we obviously have, yeah, but we're not, set up like, we're not doing many videos or anything like that, just our titles. But yeah, those three are, where we do a lot of where Alena does a lot of her creative work.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay. And would it be helpful to go when people go into stores looking for, or restaurants looking for great mocktails, to say, hey, do you carry Madame Mocktail?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, well, interestingly enough, we just signed an agreement with Cisco. We're going to be on their website for a lot of the hospitality companies. I think they have over 750,000 customers. So anyone who orders from Cisco, who's a food distributor, we're going to be part of that organization probably in the next 3 weeks. And then on Amazon as well, we're going to be selling on Amazon. So, a lot more to come, where it's just
Yes.
that one-click step,
Wow.
to get things shipped. So yeah, it's a lot of stuff happening in 3.5 months.
So be on the lookout.
Yeah.
I'm very impressed by you guys. I really am.
Oh, we really appreciate
Yeah,
that.
and
Thank
and
you.
you're such nice people, and I wish all the best for you, and I see great things happening for you guys, both of you.
Thank you so much. We're really excited to be on this platform
Yeah.
with you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having
Well, I'm
us.
very happy to have you. So as always with the Real Food Traveler podcast, we always have an associated article on the realfoodtraveler.com website. And there we will have links to your website and your social media, some pictures, and so people can see who I've been talking to and see the products. And we'll go into a little bit more detail there. And there'll also be a little player on the article, so people can literally be looking at that article and be listening to this podcast too, which is always handy. But we're also on Spotify, iTunes, Amazon Music,
Oh, cool.
iHeartRadio, and just about anywhere else you enjoy listening to your favorite podcasts. So thank you, Alena and James, both of you. And I see great things for your future. You're already doing great
Wonderful.
things. I'm so impressed that you've done so much in such a short time. You have a great story and you're nice people, and it's always nice to meet nice people having great success. So congratulations.
Feeling is mutual. Thank you so much. Yeah.
We appreciate you having us.
Definitely.
Definitely. To our listeners, we're glad you tuned in again, and we will see you next time.